Spider-Man. Love him or hate him, you probably know who he is. I personally began collecting comics from around 9 up until the time I discovered girls. But before I discovered puppy love, I learned to love the way comic books could tell a story. You could just open one up, and your visual and mental senses were just like stimulated. Um, there's so many long running tales and interweaving stories, multiverses, just anything was possible. Uh, of all the different artists who have drawn them, by far, Todd McFarlane is my favorite. Though a short run, it was and is still uh, one of the most prolific runs that I can recall. And not only did it do so much for the Spider-Man series, but it also honestly did so much for movies today, comic book movies being mainstream, being more adult and focused in that way. But that's a whole different issue. Okay, now these are comics that range from around 1982 up until 1990, when Todd McFarlane's reign really started. Um, kind of cookie cutter beginnings. Dark isn't that dark. And, they're nice, but they just don't have the same pop that you're going to see out of the McFarlane covers coming up. Now, these are several of Todd McFarlane's pieces. Notice the dynamic feel and darker tones that make it easy to understand why somebody would walk by this and want to pick it up. Trust me, the sales proved it. So many of them could be mired on looks alone, like any fine art. The stories are typically narrated through omnipresent letterboxes. The setting is mainly New York City, though McFarlane's version a much darker one, with most of its stories taking place at night or somewhere dark. This would be one of many differences that could separate McFarlane from his peers. Though darker, this world also had kind of a sense of humor. In one instance, Spider-Man webs up a drug addict and uses his stash to coax information from him, only to get the info and leave the junkie to watch his booger sugar blow away in the wind. In another instance, he is overwhelmed by hobos and ends up tying them to his body to act as shields and escape. McFarlane's writing style is expertly paced to lead you through palpable ups and downs, providing a fresh angle on a foundational superhero that had remained pretty much unchanged since the 60s. Though McFarlane was receiving so much praise from new and old fans alike, his editor Tom DeFalco was not happy with the adult direction McFarlane is going with such a beloved, traditionally PG character. He also complained that his eyes were too buggy and webs were like spaghetti. So, Todd, true to form, doubled down, making the eyes bigger and the webs webbier. But it all came to a head in an issue where Spider-Man is fighting alongside X-Force, another series under the Marvel banner. And a sword is plunged through a villain by the name of Juggernaut's eye. Tom DeFalco, his editor, demanded he edit the scene as the one that you see here. Todd agreed and quit, then risked it all to start his own company. But that's a whole different story. Spoiler alert, Todd wins.